Stop ruining your aim or parries using framegen in mechanically demanding games. Today, I'm giving you the exact tool to calculate the input latency tax you're paying for those fake frames. I mean, we've all felt the disconnect. You toggle the setting on, the overlay proudly displays that your frame rate just doubled. But the moment you try to track a target, your mouse feels like it's 5 shots into what's about to be a bad morning. The game looks incredibly smooth, but your crosshair is entirely disconnected from your hand. You're missing flicks. You're dying to parries that you know you should have landed. Corpo marketing departments want you to believe that this is free performance. It ain't. You're trading mechanical responsiveness for a visual parlor trick, and the metrics you usually rely on are kinda lying to you. But at the same time, the fake frames bad crew are also wrong. Let's break it down. Now, instead of just taking my word for it here, let's quantify the damage. Open a new tab and go to baldsquid.github.io. Link will be in the description. I built this tool specifically to cut through the fluff without causing y'all to run screaming as soon as I mention the words spreadsheets. Look at the interface. You simply plug in your native target FPS, select your NVIDIA reflex state, which should be on plus boost all the time, really, and toggle on your framegen target, all the way up to the absurd new 6x multipliers. This instantly calculates your AI transformer overhead tax and updates the pipeline latency breakdown chart. It visualizes your exact timeline of your frame, showing you the massive hold plus AI gen bar, where your input is actually kind of held hostage while the GPU interpolates an image between the two real frames. And if that total latency number turns red, even the least sensitive among us are going to feel like they're officially playing on a delay. So let's look at the nuts and bolts of why this happens and why, even with the absolute bleeding edge of modern silicon, you cannot math your way out of basic data serialization. When you run a game natively, every single frame pushed to your monitor pulls your mouse. This is a drastic oversimplification. If you want to see more about how mouse polling works, I'll link a video up there somewhere. But for the sake of argument, when you're running it native, that frame is fresh. It is a true immediate representation of your input. And framegen fundamentally breaks this. It doesn't increase your game's underlying simulation frequency. When you select that 2, 3, 4, 5, or God forbid 6x multiplier, the game is only rendering 2 true physical frames and then pausing that pipeline to let a transformer model interpolate up to 5 individual frames in between. Those generated frames contain absolutely zero new input data. They are inherently stale. At worst yet, that slider for the AI transformer overhead shows the calculation penalty. The compute time required to create those frames actively tanks your actual base render rate, forcing your physical inputs to sit in a waiting room while the AI guesses what the screen should look like. So let's apply the filter here. Who is framegen actually for? I'd say if you're playing a slow-paced, cinematic game where you already have a high base frame rate, especially if you're using a controller, because controllers usually top out at around 500 hertz polling, unless you're using something like the FlyDigi Apex 4, like me, which goes to 1,000, leave framegen on. Enjoy the show and the perceived visual smoothness. But if you are playing a competitive shooter or anything that demands high-fidelity mechanical input, think parry or die, turn it off, get your inputs back, and use the tool at baldsquid.github.io to see the math for yourself.